Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Chad, and yesterday we ended up getting a pretty cool leak. So, coming from a well-known leaker, Tom Henderson ended up putting out some leaks on Call of Duty 2025. So, it was crazy, too, because before Modern Warfare 2 came out, or as Modern Warfare 2 came out, we ended up getting leaks about what Modern Warfare 3 was going to be, and that Call of Duty 2024 was actually Gulf War. Tom Henderson has leaked a whole bunch of stuff, so immediately, as soon as that information came out, I instantly believed it. Obviously, you know, take all this stuff with a grain of salt, but again, there's not usually a ton of surprises. Call of Duty, Activision, all that, they try to follow like a specific pattern just because they want to maximize sales and all that stuff, so they operate in a way that's very predictable, usually. And once you start hearing leaks and people are corroborating different stories and stuff and things are matching up, you just have to assume that it's got to be true to at least some extent. Now, again, it could change, but it doesn't mean that it's incorrect. Some leaks are better than others, though, let's be honest. So anyway, yeah, we knew that this game was going to end up being like kind of an expansion kind of deal, and then they named it Modern Warfare 3, and then they came out with the campaign and stuff, and there's a reason why this game is the way that it is. Although, I will say that the multiplayer is some of the best we've had in years, but as a full package, I completely get why the public sees this game as, like, not so great. The campaign is abysmal, but the zombies is genuinely pretty good if you just give it a chance. It's not round-based, but it is pretty good. It's definitely not a bad mode. And the multiplayer, again, like I said, is the best that it's been. I could argue that this multiplayer is potentially top 5. I don't know, it's just a really nice experience. Anyway, to the leak, Tom Henderson puts out an article that says, exclusive, Call of Duty 2025 is a semi-futuristic Black Ops 2 sequel. I could just bring it up over here instead of just looking over. I'll put a link in the description to this whole thing so you could read it yourself if you want. Currently known under the code name Saturn, Insider Gaming has learned from multiple sources that Call of Duty 2025 is set to take players back to the future. So, just so we're clear here, we have this current Call of Duty that we're going to be playing the next 11 months or so, and then in October or November, like usual, a new Call of Duty will release in 2024, which will be Black Ops Gulf War. Now, we ended up getting some images of that before, and I remember this specifically. We were like, dude, how are we seeing stuff for Call of Duties in the next 2 years? Not only are we getting this stuff for the game that we are supposed to be playing, but we're getting stuff for the next game. This is kind of that situation as well, except there's not really any images or anything. It's just information. So, Call of Duty is slated to be set in the very slight future. Call of Duty has not had a game set in the future since 2018's Black Ops 4. Oh, also, I have to make this very, very clear because a lot of people conflate futuristic with jetpacks that I had to bring up when people were talking and there were rumors going around about an Advanced Warfare 2. If Advanced Warfare 2 is actually going to be a thing, that does not actually mean that we are going to be getting jetpacks back. It could be set in a time period where it's still the future, shit, 100, 200, 500 years into the future, who gives a shit? 1,000 years into the future, but they just never did exosuits. Or place it in the Advanced Warfare era and then make it so like somebody ended up getting enough power to be able to shoot some sort of satellite EMP at the entire planet and it destroyed all the electronics or some shit like that, and now it's like Advanced Warfare, guerrilla warfare type shit, and the exosuits don't work, so nobody is exo jumping around or wall running or anything, but it's still technically set in the future. So again, understand that when we're talking about a Call of Duty set in the future, that does not mean it's synonymous with jetpacks. Insider Gaming understands that Call of Duty 2025 is currently in development as a direct sequel to Call of Duty Black Ops 2, being set around 2030. People are saying that's like, oh, this is near future. Jetpack possibility? I doubt it. Everybody moving over to this engine and, you know, this current system that they have with COD HQ and all that stuff, I just don't see them making something that's like wildly different in terms of like mechanics for the engine itself. I just don't see. Black Ops 2 is set in 2025, so anything that happened at that point, it's only 5 years later. As such, fans should expect a return of some fan favorite protagonists as the team faces a new villain following the death of Menendez. Previously rumored Black Ops 2 remastered maps will be coming to the game, but recent plans and the scope of the game have changed significantly. Previously, the intention was to have all of the Black Ops 2 remastered maps released on launch, similar to how Modern Warfare 2's 2009 map came back to Modern Warfare 3. However, the current plan is now to launch with new maps and remastered maps in conjunction. Although only one source would comment on that change, it was speculated that the game was likely in response to widespread fan criticism that painted Modern Warfare 3 as a glorified DLC to its predecessor. Now, it's obvious they kind of want to do this thing where they kind of make a game and then make a second game that's set in that universe. Now, the question here is, though, the next Call of Duty that we're getting is by Treyarch, right? That is the confirmed thing for Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War, which is the next one. That's the rumor anyway. For 2024, that is supposed to be by Treyarch. But then the next game is going to be set in the Black Ops universe still. Who is going to be making that one? Is it still going to be Treyarch, or is Sledgehammer going to again get like the secondary expansion type game that follows up for like the year 2 of that universe? Does that make sense? We got 2 Modern Warfares in a row. Now we're gonna get 2 Black Ops in a row. But again, I don't think this says who is actually developing the game. It's a Black Ops game, so it's got to be Treyarch. It has to be. I don't think Sledgehammer has ever worked on a Treyarch game, but at least we knew that Sledgehammer was responsible for a ton of the work on the original Modern Warfare 3. So Sledgehammer has worked in the Modern Warfare name for a long time. I don't think they've ever done anything with Black Ops, have they? You know what I'm curious about? I'm curious about a Raven approach to a multiplayer. I'm curious. What if Raven took a crack at multiplayer? That's just speculation. None of that is actually in here. Modern Warfare 3 just had 16 months of development thanks to the lack of higher up planning and internal changes that led Sledgehammer to be under immense pressure and crunch to deliver the premium Call of Duty title on time. What's crazy is they still managed to make an arguably top 5 Call of Duty multiplayer. Not as the final product, but as a multiplayer experience, top 5. If not top 5, it's still better than most of the games, especially in comparison to the rest of the content in the game. I'm talking about the campaign. There is a wild quality difference between the two of them. While the campaign felt unfinished and short, the multiplayer feels large, complete. It's not perfect in terms of balancing or anything like that. You can't really say that for any of the Call of Duties or most multiplayer games, to be fair, but it still blows everything out of the water multiplayer-wise that we've had in the past multiple years. Despite the game's apparent shortcomings, though, it's said that the game did tremendously well, with Infinity Ward already well into development on its next Modern Warfare game. Okay, so I assume that's 2026 then, or maybe it's 2027? I don't know. Anyway, speaking on the specific details on Call of Duty 2025, which are heavily in flux due to the game's early stage of development, 22 months away at the time of this writing. So again, everything can change wildly, drastically, but all that we do know is 100% that we are going to be getting a Call of Duty that year. We haven't missed a year in decades. So there's going to be a game. Hopefully they all actually have time so we don't get another campaign like that ever again. One thing that I have to note, for some reason people keep not mentioning it with Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 didn't even have a fucking campaign. I'm just putting it out there. People are dunking on MW3 and Sledgehammer for how shitty the campaign was, including myself. Black Ops 4, they didn't even try. I know that some people might argue like, oh, I'd rather them just like not even try and put all their resources into yada yada yada. Don't act like you played BO4 more than any other. Come on. Where did those resources go then? Seriously, I'm asking. I want you with a straight fucking face to tell me that they did a better job on content in multiplayer as your operator is whipping and nay-naying in front of you. Horribly, might I add. There's no flow. It's horrible. It's currently unclear if the carry forward from Call of Duty 2024, named Black Ops Gulf War, will be incorporated due to the significant time jump and change to the game's overall strategy. This is a completely new game, it was said, suggesting that the game may not. So I'm curious, say for example, all of the mastery camos that we're unlocking this year, are those even going to transfer to Gulf War in itself? Yeah, so we don't even know if all of us going and getting Borealis and Interstellar and Bioluminescent and all that stuff, we don't know if that'll be in the next game. A part of me felt like it would be, but I don't know, I'm curious. The thing I'm more curious about is how a Treyarch game is going to feel overall after, you know, this time and the engine and stuff like that. I know that they can obviously make the game feel quite different, I guess, but I'm really curious how Gulf War is going to shape up, because I actually enjoyed Cold War as well. I would argue that Cold War is definitely the closest, or potentially even, you know, exceeds and competes with Modern Warfare 3 in terms of like the multiplayer and the content and all that stuff. Black Ops Cold War was very, very solid. Good campaign. It was just actually a completed game, which is, I guess, a terribly low standard, but you know what I mean. That's pretty much the article. Yeah, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think is going to happen there. Like, do you even give a fuck? It's just, you know, no point in speculating and talking about this stuff because it's like, you know, so far away or whatever. But when you hear about it and you hear the rumblings about certain things and then things start adding up and looking more and more like it, it gets pretty difficult to not at least discuss it and just think, you know, where are we gonna go from here? Are we gonna see the same kind of trend where like the second title that comes out, and so we got like a Modern Warfare game and the second Modern Warfare game is not as complete? Are we gonna have a Black Ops game and then a Black Ops that isn't very complete? I really hope not. And I'm still curious as to who's gonna be working on what. Is Sledgehammer gonna be involved with the second one? Are they gonna work on a Black Ops for the first time? I just want a completed Black Ops game with a completed zombies with kind of like the smoothness of these games, but at the same time, I don't know, kind of want them to keep the arcadiness of like the way that Treyarch games usually feel. I don't know. It'll be here soon enough, but we have an entire year of this game, which is completely fine to me. I'm just loving playing this game. Just doing everything at my own pace as well after getting all the camos and shit. But again, this is one of those situations where because you're hearing about the next game, it only makes sense and kind of corroborates corroborates even more information for the idea that Black Ops Gulf War is the thing that exists, which also gives credit to those leaks that we got previously and images that we got before. It was this image of like an airfield kind of thing. If you played World at War, it kind of reminded me of Airfield from World at War. And obviously not set in a time period that's so far back that it's like boring like World War II. Yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. I mean, I'm excited for it, but it's so far out that I'm not even really thinking about it. I'll have plenty of time to think about that in a year from now.